How's it going, everyone? It's your boy Gage, and today I'm excited to show off my Phantom Knights deck profile. I'm really excited to show this one off. I've been waiting for the cards to come for quite some time, but finally have all of the cards, and I can't wait to show it off today. Before I hop into it, I do want to thank all of you. I've been getting a lot of support recently. I just hit over 200 subscribers, which means people are watching and appreciating the content. So thank you so much for the support. If you're a fan of this type of content, please remember to like and subscribe. And without further ado, I'll just hop right into it. So, of course, this is a Phantom Knights deck profile, so we are going to have 3 copies of Phantom Knights of Torn Scales. The best starter in the deck, or at least the safest one, because you can discard 1 card to send a Phantom Knights card from your deck to the grave except itself. So, obviously, all of the Phantom Knights have utility in the grave, and of course that discard, most of the cards you're playing have additional utility in the grave, so it's just a great extender starter all around. And then, of course, if another Phantom Knights card in your grave is banished, while it's in the grave, you can special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field. And you really don't worry too much about that negative downside of banishing when it leaves the field, because most of the time you're going to end up using it as Exceeds fodder, in which case it will just become material and go to the grave as normal. So this card can be highly abusable. It is what's able to make this deck create some pretty scary boards, and honestly, this is the best support that Phantom Knights have gotten in a lot of years, and I'm happy to own 3 copies. And now for some additional Phantom Knights monsters, we are playing 3 copies of the Phantom Knights of Silent Boots. Silent Boots, if you control another Phantom Knight, you could special summon this card from your hand, so of course, a free extender. However, you can banish this from the grave to add a Phantom Knight spell or trap from the deck to your hand. So obviously, you can use this to search for the Fog Blades to grab some negation. You can use this to grab the rank up, which is how you're going to be going into your Arc Rebellion, your Dark Requiem. So Silent Boots, it's one of the best Phantom Knight extenders, and you gotta play 3 copies. Additionally, we are just playing 2 copies of Phantom Knights of Ancient Cloak. This one, you can banish itself to add a Phantom Knight card from the deck to your hand. So that is really good if you need a Phantom Knight spell or trap. If you need a Phantom Knights monster, Ancient Cloak will help you to get there. So you do want to run 2 copies. I found that 3 is just a little too bricky, so the 2 ratio works just for me. And then I am playing the 1 Ragged Gloves, being able to banish this card from the grave to send a Phantom Knights card from the deck to the grave is very powerful. Again, you could use it to send another monster. You could use it to send a Fog Blade, which will let you get an additional special summon from the grave. This deck just has so many plays. All of the cards have additional utility, and 1 Ragged Gloves is a welcome addition to the deck. And then 1 Phantom Knights of Stained Greaves. If a Phantom Knights monster is special summoned to the field, which is happening pretty much all the time, you could special summon this card from your hand. Additionally, you can banish this card from the grave to special summon a Phantom Knights monster from your hand. So if you did just so happen to have some extra Phantom Knights that are lingering in your hand, sometimes it's good to be able to send the Stained Greaves to give them some additional utility. So yeah, I love playing this one because it's actually a pretty decent extender. And that's it for the Phantom Knights. Now to go over Tour Guide from the Underworld. Honestly, still a really strong normal summon. It's obviously susceptible to some hand traps, which is why we prefer to go into your copy of Torn Scales. But of course, Tour Guide is still welcome because if it does not get hand trapped, there is a very good chance you are going to win that game because it is just so powerful. It generates so much advantage on normal summon by being able to special summon either another copy of itself or going into the BA engine. It's just so good, and that's why I still like running 3 copies because you're not always going to get into your Torn Scales, and that's where Tour Guide kind of helps to pick up the slack. Additionally, we are playing some extenders, 3 copies of Kagemusha Knight. When a card is normal summoned, when you normal summon a level 3 specifically, you could special summon this card from your hand. So extenders for days, we really just want to be able to pump out as many monsters as possible. What's great about this is that if you do normal summon Tour Guide, you can actually chain Kagemusha's effect to be able to chain block the Tour Guide from getting hand trapped by Ash Blossom or Effect Veiler. So Kagemusha is a welcome addition to the deck. It's an extender. It helps to chain block, and that's why I like playing 3 copies. And like I mentioned earlier, a small BA engine. If Tour Guide is able to get the normal summon effect off, being able to use the BAs to just continue to extend is really powerful. I don't want to run more than 1 copies of each of these. They are honestly bricks. However, it's not the worst thing in the world. You can still special summon it from the hand off of Tour Guide's effect, to be able to give you an additional extender, but you really just want them into the deck so that you don't necessarily have to commit that resource. So 1 Graph, 1 Seer, very strong. And like I mentioned, it is extenders for days, extender, and we're playing the 1 Psychic Tracker, Psychic Wielder. Nothing too special here. They essentially just special summon themselves for free. We're also playing 1 Junk Forward, self-explanatory. Again, another extender. And of course, a small danger engine with the Tsuchinoko and the Jackalope. It's great because they are level 3s, and they are pretty powerful themselves. So yeah, it makes no sense if you're playing a rank 3 based deck to not play the danger engine. And then to round out the monsters, the only one that I guess wouldn't be considered a starter or extender in the deck in some capacity is 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. At the very worst, I'd say, if your hand ends up getting clogged with Ash, you could still normal summon it, and there is a very high probability that you still have an extender to be able to help you to go into Cherubini and the like. So guys, that's going to be it for the monsters. As you can see, it is pretty chunky. The deck is mostly focused around kind of extending and just, pumping out monsters. So to go over the spells, I am main decking 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More. So obviously, we do not want to stare against a board of negates. That is really the only thing that will keep your deck from really popping off. So I have found that by main decking Dark Ruler, I'm not really too worried if I lose the dice roll because, if my opponent does build a really strong board, I could just Dark Ruler and then easily break it with the extenders that I have and with the extra deck monsters that I'm playing. So I've actually really liked main decking the Dark Ruler No More, and even in matchups where it might not necessarily be relevant, you could just go ahead and swap it out with cards in the side deck. And then for some powerful one-ofs, of course, 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army. It is an extra copy of Torn Scales. If you already have the Torn Scales, you can grab a Kagemusha Knight. So it's pretty flexible. Copy of Monster Reborn, yet again, another extender. There are many times where you really just need a card to help you, especially if you do get Nibiru'd. It's always nice to be able to just kind of go have a copy of Monster Reborn as a kind of that comeback card to allow you to get back in the game. So there have been many times where Monster Reborn has saved me in the event that my board gets broken. And then, of course, we are playing the Emergency Teleport for the Psychic package. Again, an additional extender. The 1 copy of Foolish Burial. Most of our stuff has additional utility in the grave, so of course we're going to play the 1 copy. And then the 1 Called by the Grave. You really don't want your tour guides to get ashed. You don't want any of your cards to really get hit with anything, with any hand trap. So having the 1 copy of Call by the Grave has saved me in a lot of instances. I really wish it would come back to 3, but it probably will not. So we just kind of have to live with the hand trap format that we are in. And then the 1 copy of Phantom Knight's Rank Up Magic Force to allow you to rank up into your Arc Rebellion and your Dark Requiem. And now for the traps, we are playing, of course, the 3 copies of Phantom Knight's Fogblade. It is not only a negation, but it allows you to special summon a Phantom Knight's monster by banishing this card from the graveyard. So I just love that it really helps you to extend even further because that is the name of the game. You really just don't want your board to get wiped out or for you to get hit with Nibiru because at the end of the day, that can end your turn. So you want to try to have as many cards to help you recover, and Fogblade is one of them. And of course, the 1 copy of Shade Brigandine, it is a free extender as well. And the 1 Phantom Knight Sword, there are some instances in which if I already have the ability to pitch something like a Fogblade from my hand, I want something else to be able to send off of something like a Ragged Gloves to give me an additional, you guessed it, extension. And guys, that's going to be it for the main deck. It is 40 cards. Pretty solid, honestly. All of your hands are going to be cracked to a certain degree. Yes, you do brick. Unfortunately, you'd think that even with all these extenders that you wouldn't. There are, of course, going to be some hands that are less than ideal. Now moving on to the extra deck. I am, of course, playing the 1 copy of AA Zeus Sky Thunder. There are just times where you're like, all right, I'm going to need a board wipe. And it's easy to go into because you're going into a ton of Xyz monsters. So AA Zeus is honestly just kind of a win more card. But in the instances in which you do need it, you're going to be happy that you did have it. And of course, we are playing the Cherubini and the Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardiche. Both of them, again, are going to help you to continue to combo off, get some of your Phantom Knights into the grave. And what's great about Bardiche is that you can actually set one of your Phantom Knight spell or traps from the grave. So if you want to go ahead and set that Fogblade, if you want to set the rank up, you can do so. So it's pretty much mandatory to play at least one of each of these. Of course, the only negative part of Bardiche is the fact that it cannot be used as link material, which is pretty sad, but, we work through it, and we're still able to make some pretty scary boards. Additionally, we are playing just kind of a generic link package. We are playing the Nightmare Unicorn, the IP Masquerena, and an Apollosa, Bow of the Goddess. Because of the fact that we have access to so many extenders, it means that we are able to go into a lot of link monsters. So I found these to be pretty versatile and very strong. I really want to keep my extra deck more as like a Swiss Army knife, so to speak, so that if there are a lot of instances in which I need to spin something back, or if I need to be able to link off and get some cards into the grave, I can go into Masquerena. And of course, Apollosa is really easy to go into, just to be able to get an extra source of negation onto your field. And I, believe it or not, am playing 1 copy of Infinitrack Fortress Megaclops. This is really for the follow-up. Because of the fact that we are producing so many Xyz monsters, I found it really easy to get into the Megaclops, and there are decks that straight up that just can't do anything about it. So, yeah, I like running the 1 copy more as a surprise factor, and every time I've gone into it, it really has essentially won me the game. So I do recommend at least experimenting with the Megaclops. You may just find that it is a strong option. And now to go into the Dark Rebellion package, I guess. The Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, the Dark Requiem Xyz Dragon, and of course the new edition, the Arc Rebellion. So this is your rank up engine, so to speak. You're really just going to want to pop your own break sword so that you can go into the Xyz Dragon. And then if you're going first, go into the Dark Requiem for some negates. Or if you're going second, go into the Arc Rebellion to break your opponent's board and potentially go for some OTKs. So you're going to want to have these in the deck. They're both good in their own instances. So 1 copy of each is ideal. And of course, we are playing the 2 copies of Phantom Knights of Breaksword. Just being able to have a free pop, as well as the ability to special summon your Phantom Knights from the grave to make them level 4 is pretty much the reason why you want to run at least 2 copies of them. The second copy may not always come up, but it does come up in the grind game. So you don't want to be caught with your pants down. You're going to want to play 2 copies because the popping effect is really relevant. And yeah, there's not really too much more to say. He's the boy. And I am playing 1 Leviair the Sea Dragon. I would like to play more than 1 copy, but the extra deck is pretty tight at the moment. There may be some instances in which I want to switch it up, but honestly, Leviair at 1 has been okay for me. It does what I need it to. It still allows me to be able to go into the Appaloosa, and that's why I like playing the Leviair, but I may end up bumping this up to 2 copies. And then the Raider's Knight to be able to cheat into your Arc Rebellion. Unfortunately, the Dark Requiem does require for you to have the Dark Rebellion underneath it. However, you can use Raider's Knight to go into your Arc Rebellion to be able to help you clear the field. So I do like having this because, yeah, you might not always have access to the rank up, in which case Raider's Knight is essentially a nice alternative option. And then I am teching the 1 copy of Virtual World Shell Jaja. It has come up the ability to detach a material, target a face-up monster I control, which is usually itself, and it can't be destroyed by battle until the end of your opponent's turn. But more importantly, once per turn after damage calculation, if this card battled an opponent's monster, while you have 2 or more monsters in your grave with the same original type and attribute, which is pretty much all of your Phantom Knight monsters, you can actually banish that opponent's monster. So it gives some additional utility to be able to provide some non-targeting banishing, but even more importantly, you can then use it to go into Zeus. So I was actually really grateful that I had this at my disposal because it has come up and is a very strong option. So guys, that is going to be it for the deck profile. I actually do jump in the gun just a bit. I can go ahead and show off the side deck. Not gonna lie, it is a little bit of a work in progress. I still want to be able to upgrade, play around with the hand traps, but this is what I'm playing for now. I am playing the 1 Pankratops, the 1 Mind Control, the 1 Raigeki. Just cards that I could easily side into that can help to break my opponent's board. Obviously, if I had things and can afford Lightning Storm, I would go and opt to play those. But for now, these are still really good at helping to at least bait some negations, in which case I am happy to include them in the side. And then I am playing 3 copies of Twin Twisters for the back row decks. There are a lot this format, and not even just necessarily straight back row decks, but main deck combo decks that are just main decking a lot of spells and traps. So you want to, again, not be caught with your pants down. You want to have access to some of that removal, and Twin Twisters is really good. And again, we want to have some additional removal, so I'm playing 3 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon. Now, you could play Cosmic Cyclone, but I am playing 3 copies of Artifact Lancia, and I do not want to run any cards that could potentially conflict with each other. There was an instance in which I sided both the Lancia and the Cosmic Cyclone, forgetting that I can't use both of them on the same turn, so that is unfortunate. Technically, I could use the Cosmic Cyclone first and then go into Lancia, but most of the time you're going to want to shotgun the Lancia because you don't want your opponent to start going into banishing shenanigans. So, yeah, I play the 3 Lancia mostly with the Mystical Space Typhoon, just because I don't want to also have Cosmic Cyclone and have it conflict with each other. And then lastly, I'm playing 3 copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance. You don't want to get blown out by Lightning Storm, by cards that can essentially just end your day, like Dark Ruler No More. So that is why I am playing the 3 Anti-Spell. Honestly, one turn is all you need. So the fact that this buys you an extra turn against spell-based strategies, it's essentially an auto win against Sky Striker as well, which is really popular in the format. I definitely recommend it. I may cut the one fragrance for one copy of Imperial Order just because that's something that is kind of hard negation and it sticks around. But 3 copies of Anti-Spell has been the go-to so far. So now, guys, that's going to be it for the deck profile. I really want to keep this one a little bit more concise. I was going to try and mix in a combo video for this, but the Phantom Knights combos are actually pretty extensive. So if you are interested in seeing a Phantom Knights combo video, I'd be happy to do an entire video that is dedicated to it, just because it is a really fun deck. There are a lot of different ways that you can play the deck, and that is why I wanted to get into it, because it seemed like a lot of fun. There are a lot of ways that you can take it, and that is, I've been playing a lot of decks in my life, and Phantom Knights have always been there, and they just continue to get support. And so that's why I felt like it was a safe bet, just kind of going for Phantom Knights, because I know that they will always be a really decent strategy. If you like this type of content, remember to like and subscribe. And until next time, GG.